Freddie, this is a beautiful documentary about your life. Were you approached to do it, or did you seek someone else out to help you bring your book to the screen?
So my book became a bestseller and it kind of, caught some momentum and got a lot of eyes on it. And a lot of different producers started reaching out. They were expressing interest in my story. It started out with a guy that was partnered with Netflix that put out a lot of different projects with Netflix, and that never really materialized. But then some guys from over at Warner Brothers, one of the guys, he was branching out to do his own thing. He told me that he wanted to tell my story on this new platform that he was creating. And we just put it out independently at first. And eventually it got picked up and now it's streaming on Amazon Prime, Apple TV. And this happened in like less than 2 to 3 months from us releasing the film. And it's crazy to think about because just at the time, like as an independent filmmaker, you don't have, after putting all that time and money into a film, at the end, when you're putting you don't have any funding, the budget's kind of tight. So we were trying to get into all these film festivals, but we couldn't really do it because our budget was so tight. And we kind of discouraged at the time, but it ended up getting picked up without doing that. And one of my friends that's in the film industry, he was telling me about how rare that is. Like some people are in the industry for years, going to all these festivals, and they never get it picked up. So to have ours picked up, it's amazing.
The movie is a beautiful, touching tribute to your life's work. Was there some areas from the book that you had to sort of compress or leave out a little bit because of time constraints, or did Dan and Tony and everyone else involved, Greg, Misa, everyone involved, sort of give you free reign of what to include in this documentary?
Yeah, we were sitting down for hours at a time, just going over everything. So there's a lot of lost footage that, we have. So I pretty much, I went over everything that I didn't touch in the film, all the details and everything like that. And then we just got together at the end and kind of figured out what made the most sense to ultimately make the biggest impact on lives when they watch this film.
There's incredible interviews that are featured throughout. Was there people you reached out to and they were like, absolutely, I'm certainly happy to give my testimony? Or did people were like, oh, if you ever make this into something, count me in to hype you up?
So this is how it started off. Like in the beginning, I was reaching out to people trying to make it as big as possible, going for big name stories that I saw that I thought were amazing, amazing trials of Trump stories. But people don't have a relationship with you, even if they love the story. A lot of them aren't really going to jump to do it, and their heart wasn't really in it. So I was like, man, I have a lot of people I'm connected with that have huge testimonies and huge stories. So why not do what I've been doing this whole entire time and win in with the people that I've grinded with and I've struggled with? So that's what we put together. Maurice Bernard, I connected with him a few years back. He fell in love with my story and he wanted me on his platform. And like we've been tight since then. Like anything I need, he'll do, and he knows the same thing on my end. And Tony Gaskins, we connected through a mutual friend a few years back. Been tight ever since. And Nano and Delvin. They are the only ones that those guys are the only ones that I didn't grow up with. But I connected with them all over the past few years, and we just all fell in love with each other's stories and everything that we're doing. It we're like, man, you would think that we grew up from day one together, but everybody else I've known, most of my life, and I just knew that they had testimonies that would provide different angles of the trials and the triumph throughout the film. Sorry, that would help out the audience so that it didn't get repetitive and they could see
Sure.
every different angle. And I truly believe that when you watch this film, no matter who's watching it, they're going to be able to pick out one person in this film and be like, okay, I can relate to them. I'm going through that right now. And that's what we wanted to do.
It's absolutely inspirational. I'm sure you've heard from former teammates, people you grew up with playing football, and what have their responses been to this wonderful book turned documentary?
Yeah, just in the beginning, people seeing what we were doing, it inspired a lot of people, especially former teammates. A lot of them going through that transition, trying to figure out their purpose after sports, and I get it. That's where I was. So it's motivating guys. Like so many people reach out to me now, like, man, you motivated me to write a book. Now I want to put out a film, and I'm like, man, let's do it, man. Continue pushing, and that's what it's all about. I wanted when I wrote the book a few years back, it was just me being in a place where I didn't truly know if I had purpose in my life, but I wanted to tell my story just in case it could help somebody out that was struggling with their transition. And for guys that are going through that transition and feel like they have no purpose, the people in this world, that's what I did it for. And initially, it started out being just specifically for athletes, but it became far bigger than that, and I didn't expect it, to be honest. It's just I just did it in a way that it was, I wasn't really expecting it to become a bestseller. I was just trying to help out a few people at the time. And then the pandemic hit in. It's like people that don't even follow sports come across my book and they're reaching out to me, telling me how they came across my book and I saved them from committing suicide. And that's when I realized like, I got to continue telling this story. Like I got to push it.
100%. 100%. That must mean so much to you that people have personally connected with your story, something that personally affected you. So I was gonna say, this is such a beautiful book. It's such a wonderful documentary. Is that also what we just talked about? Hope lingers with people who explore the documentary and maybe haven't picked up the book but are finally getting a chance to see it, on our screens. Is that what you hope lingers with them? Inspiration, motivation, that there is a second chance at life?
Yeah, without a doubt, one of the biggest themes that we wanted to get across is no matter what your circumstances in life, you can overcome it and win. And that's what you see so many times throughout the film, and that's what's unique about the film. You hear Trials of Triumph, and you think like most of the time the person's going to be showing you all the times that they won throughout the film, but we're showing more failures than anything, and then you see people with those few wins, and that's how life is. It's so many you take so many losses just to get those few wins in life. And a lot of us, we get discouraged through those moments and we want to give up, but ultimately understanding that everything that we're going through is shaping our character, shaping us for our purpose. And if we continue to push forward, we can win.
It must be amazing now that the movie is out today. You're going to be overwhelmed, I'm sure. So far, you've probably been overwhelmed, and the rest of the day is that people have get off of work and get a chance to spend more time exploring this beautiful documentary. What's next for you, though? What's going on next for you? Have you been busy working on other projects? Have you started in different fields now?
Yeah, we just to be honest, one thing I told myself that I wanted to do with this project, because just the way I'm wired is always all right. What's the next thing? What's the next thing? And of course, I'm setting up moves, but also we have to, sometimes sit back and smell the flowers, enjoy those moments, celebrate those moments. So I'm just going to, enjoy this process. I know you just said it's going to get crazy, but that's what I want. I want to, this film to impact millions of us, to every single person. Like one of my goals for this film is for every single cast member throughout the film, for their brand to go to the next level, for lives to be saved, for lives to be impacted. I just wanted to be one of those films that changes lives on both sides. It helped us out just telling our stories. It was like therapy for us, and people listening to it. I want them, them to go through that change, but also a lot of people, from the cast, just want them to, just to take their brands to the next level as well, because they've meant so much to me along my journey, and we've grinded along this whole entire process. They always bother me throughout the process, like with the films and things. Usually everything goes to the main character, and I'm just not the type of person that feels comfortable if everybody else can't win. So they were, oh, man, Freddie, we're not worried about getting anything, and but that's I wouldn't feel right unless they were able to be successful from this as well. And I truly believe our film is going to do every single thing that we wanted to do. Like I'm a firm believer in walking in your purpose and making a living out of it. And for the longest, I didn't know how to do that. And now, walking out and telling our stories and impacting lives, I want to be able to save lives, impact lives, but I also want my cast to be able to, make a residual income from it. So that's one of the things I'm passionate about. I wanted to see it change their lives as well.
That's a good friend. You're a good friend to have, Mr. Stevenson.